Okay, so before we get into this, I'm gonna say it again because I've said it for the past 3 weeks and I haven't really gotten an answer. This is gonna be it. We're gonna talk about episode 1. If you don't want me to do King-Ohger and there's silence, I'm not gonna do episode 2 or the rest of the series. If you do, let me know down below. If you want me to continue and do this next series here, I can do it. I figured I would put this at the front and we'll just kind of talk about episode 1 and I'll give my thoughts on it. But again, let me know if you want me to do this. Please. I enjoy these. The editing sometimes can be a little long, but I don't care. If people are enjoying this, if this is getting views, I will do it. It's as long as you guys are happy with it. If you're not, I'm gonna find something else to do with my Mondays, and we'll cover something else. I have ideas and whatnot too. So again, if you don't want me to cover King-Ohger, just either say that or silence, because that's how I'm gonna know if I should do next week, if I should do episode 2 or not. So if you want me to cover it, let me know. So anyway, we'll just kind of talk about this episode. This is just a generic intro episode. This was beautifully animated, though. I'm gonna say probably about 85 to 90% of this episode, the actors looked like they were behind CG. There was some fight scenes in this episode where it's like, hey, like you can clearly tell that's not CG, it's a real place where they filmed. But it's mostly the actors just standing in front of a green screen, but it was so beautifully animated. Everything was so cool, so much detail here. You know, you typically have the typical Sentai Rider type of animations, and you kind of get that wonky stuff, which it doesn't hinder my opinions to it. I still enjoy the series because the stories are usually so good. But this was a step up. I don't know if we're gonna stay if the whole series is gonna take place in this world, because that's a lot of animating and they're on a weekly schedule. So unless they've been working on this since like a year ago, if they've known like, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna need a bunch of animators on this for this. So maybe they've known and they've been just, constantly working on it, all the CG and everything for so long. But if this was just a intro arc opening up for the first first couple episodes of just at least half of the episode here, I can see like, hey, maybe eventually kind of tone it down and just at the start here, we're gonna go crazy with the animations and whatnot. But if you're watching this, and you're used to that normal Sentai type of rider weird CGI, something that always comes to mind is the first episode, or I think it was the second episode of Revice, where they transform into the T-Rex. And it's kind of wonky, but hey, it's what you expect from like a weekly TV series. So I could go on for an hour just talking about the scenery and everything that was well done in this. But as far as the story goes, we literally just find that I forget what the boss is. I forget what the evil organization name was. Again, if you want me to do it, I'll go. I'll make sure to write it down and remember it. But we had the evil organization that was defeated 2,000 years ago, and there's a prophecy that 2,000 years later, hey, they're gonna show up, pop back up, and start trying to destroy their world again. So we had 5 different nations. I guess essentially it was 5 different, like they branched off into little different nations. But they've had peace for 2,000 years, so they were able to coexist with the the other nations and whatnot. There's so many different kinds. There's like a super advanced, like you could say a futuristic one. There's a snowy mountain one. You have like a gardeny type of, I don't want to say girly, but like butterflies and like gardening and like stuff like this. And the leader is the Yellow Ranger, and she's like, hey, like I'm supposed to go to this thing because her servants want her, got to go to the meeting, whatever. She's like, hey, like I gotta take care of my face, I gotta take care of me. Nothing comes before me first. And then we had a kind of like a rundown, kind of like poor section here. In the main red domain is what I'll say. Where our leader, he doesn't start as the leader. He's a poor man. He's like, hey, telling the kids, telling everyone around him, like, hey, like, King's gonna protect us. Like, hey, we don't have anything to worry about. King loves us. And we found out that's not true. But anyway, he goes, I'm sorry, we go kind of around, we kind of like see everything. They come together for this annual meeting, or not annual meeting, but I think it's every couple years or something like that. They all kind of meet up. They have a whole festival day essentially for it. And lo and behold, guess what? It's 2,000 days later, or 2,000 years later. Here we go. Here comes Big Bad Boss, who's a big, big giant mountain. We see, or not? Well, he kind of like at first when you see him come out of the smoke, he kind of looks like it, but it's just a big, big monster essentially. We see two of the main villains. And I think they were riding on his head, I believe, or was it shoulder, something like that. They're like, hey, like, go attack all the world. So we see them. For some reason, they all separated. They came together, and they're like, you know what? No, we're going back to our own domains. We're gonna only protect our domains. We see the red King-Ohger is like, hey, screw you guys, screw this world. And he tells our I'm going to say Red Ranger, our Red Sentai, whatever you want to say. He tells them, because he went over, he's like, hey, like, why aren't you protecting us? Because the Yellow Ranger came over and was kind of protecting the village. Like, they were all kind of bouncing around, protecting everything. And so he goes off to the Red Ranger. It's like, hey, what are you doing? And Red Ranger's like, hey, fuck them. I don't give a shit about the people. I'm gonna go dethrone these other kings. I'm gonna become number one. I'm gonna become the only king. I'm gonna rule over every domain, all 5 domains. Let them fight it out with the monsters. Let them take care of each other. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna swoop in after, kill all these kings, and we're gonna have a party. It's gonna be my domain, and only my domain. And so our main character's like, hey, like, screw you. Tries to punch him, knocks off the cape that the king was wearing. We find out that he also knocked off the sword. And I don't think he was trying to grab the sword, but he grabbed the sword, and the king realized, like, hey, crap, I don't have it on me. So our main character points at him, says, hey, like, I want to protect people. What you're doing is stupid. This is not how a king should act, which isn't true because, like, go back in history. Like, how many good kings were there? not a lot. You had a lot more bad kings. But he kind of plays the role. This is what I really love. Like, so usually you have the trope of, like how it is, like a random guy becomes the Red Ranger, and by the end of the series, he's beloved by everyone. And that's what happens here. This guy is like, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep the sword. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to protect these people here if you're not going to do it. And the king's like, okay, you know what? You're going to become a traitor. You're going to be hunted down by us. You're going to become the villain. He's like, and our main character just accepts it. He's like, hey, I got you. I'll be the villain. He goes out, instantly knows how to pilot the Red Beetle for some reason. But again, we're going to find out he's probably royalty because they said only royalty can actually use the swords and whatnot. So we're gonna eventually find out he's royalty. But he goes, transforms. He by himself can control all 5 Zords. Come together, they beat the big he beats the big monster alone. And then we end the episode with everyone kind of staring on. The other 4 Rangers or other 4 members of the Sentai are like, hey, what the heck is going on here? Like, who is that? And we end with our main red character landing on the ground, and we have the voiceover of, hey, this man's gonna become king one day. And then we see at the end how he's swarmed by a bunch of soldiers, and the king's like, hey, told you we're gonna hunt you down. And that's how it ends. So I guess I won't do a preview if you don't want it. I guess if people don't want it, we'll just stop right there. We won't talk about the preview. It basically highlights just the Blue Ranger next week. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting. I thought, like, hey, we're gonna have the Red Ranger hunted now. Like, he's gonna be like exiled. He's gonna have to go on his own. He's gonna have to gain the trust of the other 4 kings, even though it's technically 2 queens in there. But point is, they're all called kings. And so, it's kind of an interesting start to a series. Now, again, they do this trope a lot. Kira Major was literally the most recent one I can think of, hey, you have 4 athletic people, all experienced, and then you just have a random drawer come in and he's leading the team. He's got to gain the trust. We're doing that this time. It's 4 kings and a port person. But I thought the twist of, hey, he's gonna be exiled. He's gonna be hunted by the Red King. I thought that was a really cool, really interesting way to play off of a normal trope they do. So, yeah, that's it. Again, next week, episode 2 is just kind of highlighting the Blue Ranger, saying, hey, like, here's the other guy. He had the futuristic kingdom, so he's gonna go there, highlight them. We're gonna get both of them in the Zord. And, yeah, it's going to be one by one for this first 4 or 5 episodes. Again, it's an intro arc. So we'll see with the animation. Again, it was beautiful. I enjoyed the heck out of it. But if you want, I'm going to say it here at the end. If you want me to do this, keep going on. I can do that. If you don't want me to do that, silence is powerful. And that's going to tell me, hey, you guys don't want this. So for now, like the video, share the video around. Don't forget to subscribe. And maybe we'll see you next week. Maybe not. I am still planning on doing a Don Brothers recap either way. That's kind of not in this, because I want to, that'll probably come out next week. There's a whole bunch I want to talk about, so that might be a longer video. Point is, for now, again, signing off. If you want more of this, we'll see you next week. If not, we'll see you in other videos. Peace.